Hi everyone, today's video is a little bit different than my typical videos. I'm going to be doing my makeup, but the point of the video today is not the makeup. I wanted to kind of explain why my channel is Simply Blair, and at the end of my videos I always say simply be you. I kind of wanted to explain a little bit more about why, the why behind that, and just so you feel like you know me a little bit more. And this video is kind of all over the place. I was gonna kind of plan it out a little bit, but then I just kind of decided that I was overthinking it and just decided to go with it. So I hope you enjoy it. And if you're new here, my name is Blair. I do makeup content, but today I'm being a little more vulnerable and sharing a little bit about myself, but I mostly do makeup reviews and get ready with me's, all kinds of makeup content here on my channel. I would love to have you if you haven't subscribed. I post 3 times a week on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. This is not an easy video to film, but I feel compelled to share these things with you. So I'm gonna do that today, and let's go ahead and get started. So this is gonna be a very different video. It's really not going to be about the makeup at all. I'll try to mention what I'm using. Hopefully I can remember to do that. If I don't, I will list everything and link it for you in my description box if I forget to tell you what something is that I'm using. But this video, I have been thinking about filming it for a while, and I actually tried to sit down and kind of write bullet points about what I wanted to talk about, so I would try to have like a little bit of an outline for this, but I just decided to scratch that and just turn the camera on and talk. This may or may not be something you're interested in. If you're just here for makeup content, I'm sorry. Most of my videos are just about makeup, but I wanted to make a video that would kind of just help you understand me a little bit more and feel like you know me a little bit more. I want you to watch my videos and enjoy them and feel relaxed and calm, but I also want you to feel like you know me as a person, if that makes sense. So we're gonna get started. I'm gonna first go in with some corrector, and I guess I'm gonna start with kind of giving you a background of, well, let me start with this. The reason I'm making this video is I kind of want to talk about why I say simply be you at the end of all my videos, which hopefully you make it to the end of the videos. If you don't, the last thing I say in all my videos is always simply be you. And the name of my channel is obviously Simply Blair. The reason for that is not just because it's a cute name or something that I just randomly thought of. It was something that I put a lot of time into thinking about when I started my channel. I thought for quite a while about what I was going to call my channel, if I was just going to use my name or if I was going to, you know, come up with like a cute name. And kind of went back and forth, but I settled on Simply Blair, and the reason for that is kind of what we're going to be talking about today. So I'll kind of start with giving you a little bit of background about me just growing up. I'm 29. Today is actually my 29th birthday when I'm filming this. And I grew up moving a lot. So I was born in Georgia, but I moved a lot. My dad was in banking, and a lot of the times in the banking industry, you move to kind of advance. And so we did a lot. We moved a ton. And, you know, if you've moved before, you know that there's definitely pros and cons that come along with that. It definitely gets more challenging as you get older. When I was younger, you know, moving is not fun, but you don't really, it doesn't impact you as much as it does as you get older. And we moved I pretty much lived most places in the South. I've lived in Alabama, Georgia, obviously. North Carolina is where I live now. I've lived in South Carolina. I've lived in Florida, Alabama. I don't know if I even said that, but we moved a ton. And one of the places we lived the longest, we lived there for about 10 years. This was when I was, let's see, we moved there when I was in 7th grade. So I moved to South Carolina at the time. And I was going into 7th grade, like I said. Obviously, when you move, you change schools, which to me is like the hardest part of moving for kids. It's just changing schools, meeting new people, having to make new friends, and that's just a hard thing to do. And I have a younger brother. We both obviously did it many, many times, but there was one move that was particularly difficult, I guess, and it was this move. When I was in 7th grade, we started going to a private school. I'm trying to stay on track here. It's kind of hard to tell this story and do my makeup at the same time, but the move when I was in 7th grade was the most difficult for sure. 7th grade is kind of middle school age, and that's just a really hard time for anybody. We started going to this school. It was a private school. It was a very small school. And a lot of the people that went there had been going there since they were in kindergarten. So they've only ever gone to school there. They're not, someone that's been at a school for a few years and moved on to another high school, middle school, whatever. It was a K through 12th grade school. And, I knew it wasn't going to be fun because moving and doing all that stuff and starting anything new is usually not very fun. And I knew that going in, but this particular school, it was really hard. The people that went there, like I said, had been going there for a long time, most of them. They had kind of grown up going there, and a lot of these people knew each other from being in kindergarten. I mean, they've kind of grown up together. And when you start at a school like that, now this was just my experience. No one is going to have the same experience. I'm just kind of sharing mine with you. But when you start at a school where most people have known each other since they were in kindergarten, and you come in the 7th grade, that's really hard. And for me, at this particular school, it was really hard. I won't say I didn't make any friends. I definitely made some friends, I guess, but I never felt like I could fully, fit in with the kids at this school, because it was just a very kind of a polarizing environment. It was very much like everybody kind of had the same personality type. A lot of these people were very extroverted. They were very outgoing, I guess is what you would call it. And like I've kind of mentioned here before, I am not an outgoing person. I'm a very introverted person. I'm very quiet. I'm very shy. A lot of people are probably surprised that I even have a YouTube channel, because I am just not someone that you would typically think would put themselves out there on YouTube. And I went to this school for 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th grade. So I was there for 5 years, and to say it was miserable is an understatement. It was miserable. I hated it, but I'd moved so many times. I didn't want to change schools again. I would make excuses and I would say, it's not that bad. It's okay. I'll be fine. And I stayed there. I stayed there all this time and was very lonely. I was very lonely. Like I said, I made friends, but no one that was a true friend. And that sounds so sad, but I It's so true. This was just not the right environment for me. And I should have changed schools, honestly, a lot sooner. I did end up changing schools when I was a senior in high school. I transferred to a really big high school in the area that I lived. Literally the exact opposite of what I'd been used to for the past 5 years. And I don't know how I finally got the courage up to do it, but it just kind of got to the point where I was so miserable. I was like, you know what? I know it's my last year of high school, but at this point, I hate my current situation so much that I have to try something different, basically. And I did. I went to a huge public school. It was like going from a school of 1,000 people, K through 12th grade, to a high school with like 2,500 people in just the high school. So it was a huge transition, and that was hard, but it was the best decision I ever made for myself. One of the best ones. It was not the easy choice, but it was the right one. And I'm kind of getting off track here, but kind of going back to what I said first. The reason that I say simply be you at the end of my videos is because when I was at that school for those 5 years, and even sometimes before then, because we moved so much, I a lot of times felt like I could not be myself because I was trying really hard to just fit in, honestly. So I'm saying all these things to explain why I say simply be you at the end of my videos. The reason for that is that when I was at this school, 7th grade to 11th grade, the whole time I was there, I was not simply being myself. I was constantly feeling like something was wrong with me. I didn't have a lot of friends, and I felt like because I didn't have the personality that a lot of the people that went here to this school had, that there was something wrong with me. And that is not a fun way to live your life. It is not fun. It's just not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling. And I wanted to share that with you here on YouTube because I wish at that time in my life I had something like YouTube or someone. I mean, obviously I have family that, your family is always hopefully going to support you and tell you that, there's nothing wrong with you, and, you'll kind of find your way in life. Sometimes you just need someone that's not in your family or related to you in any way to tell you that they have felt how you feel. And I wish at that time in my life I had had something like YouTube or just anything to tell me that, there was nothing wrong with me. I was just in a school, an environment that was not the best for me. That was all there was to it. And I wish I'd had something or someone tell me that at the time, that I would have listened to. Because like I said, your family will tell you these things. They should, but sometimes you just need someone other than your family to tell you things, So I want to kind of give you an example of something that everyone was doing at this school and I did not do. And it was like the weird thing that I didn't do it. So everyone, like I said, at this school, they were very much, it was a very sports-oriented school. Like literally every single person played a sport. Every person, literally. I mean, there might have been, I want to say like less than 5 people in each class, maybe less than that did not play a sport. And you guys, I have never been a sports kind of person. That's just not me. I have always been very girly. Not that if you're girly, you can't play sports, but it's just never been something that I was very interested in. And at this school, they were constantly like in classes and just everywhere you went, they were asking like, oh, what sport do you play? Or, oh, you don't play a sport? Well, why not? Like, it was something where like they're constantly kind of making you feel like if you aren't like everyone else, there's something wrong with you. And that is hard. That is hard at that age when you're 13, 14, 15, 16, even older than that. But really in that age range, I feel like that's hard. And I don't wish that on anyone to be in an environment like that, because it's just not good for your mental state. It's just not. Because the reality is not everyone likes the same things. Not everyone has the same personality, and we shouldn't. You shouldn't. People are different, and that's how it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to be like everyone else. And I was in this environment constantly, and I just always felt like, there's something wrong with me. I am not the first person to raise their hand in class to answer a question. Everybody else is dying to talk in front of the class. They're dying to get attention from the class. And I wasn't. I was just quiet. And I always felt like there was something wrong with that. And I guess the main reason I'm sharing this is because sometimes on social media, you get this idea of people that you follow, or you have this perception of them. And it's usually, that their life is perfect and, they're just self-confident and they never have had a bad day, or they've never felt self-conscious about anything. And it's just not true. And I know a lot of the times people kind of portray that on social media, on Instagram and YouTube and TikTok and whatever else. People can sometimes make it appear that their life is perfect, and I'm here to tell you, no one's life is perfect. I don't care who you are. No one's life is perfect, and no one is perfect, because we're not supposed to be. So I'm just applying some Bare Minerals now over some concealer, and I'll tell you another story or another example of something I used to do. And now when I think about it, I think, man, that is so sad that I felt that way. But again, I just want to share these things because I think it's important. So when I was at this school, we had PE, typically everybody does. And this school, again, like I said, they were very into sports. In PE, it was very, I don't even know what word to use, to be honest. It was very much a competition almost. I don't know how to even explain it, but sometimes we would do things like outside, like we would run or play a sport or whatever. Then other times we had a weight room at this school, and you would go to the weight room with your PE class, and you would do some kind of weightlifting, or you would get on the treadmill, you would get on the Stairmaster, you would do pull-ups. It was just, and you would do these things in front of your class a lot of the times, which if you're someone that loves to work out and you do these kinds of things all the time because you play sports and you just enjoy it, then that's probably not a big deal to you. But if you're someone like me who does not enjoy sports, does not really enjoy exercising in front of a lot of people, that's a very traumatic thing. Anyway, and the reason I'm bringing that up is because when I would finish with PE, you guys know if you watch my videos, I just have redness in my cheeks. I've always had it. I don't remember a time ever not having that. That's just how my skin is. And when I exercise, I'm laughing because I can laugh about these things now, but at the time it was not funny. When I exercise or I get hot, my cheeks get even more red. Like that's a natural part of, you know, if you have rosacea, which I don't even know if I have it, I'm assuming I do, you know, you flush, and most people do flush, but if you have red cheeks, then usually if you get hot, they get even redder. So anyway, I would literally, after PE, you had to go back in like the locker room area, whatever, and change back into a uniform. We wore uniforms. And you also had a PE uniform that you had to wear. So I would go and change to go back to my next class or period. I forget what we called it, but I would go in there, put my clothes back on, and I would literally take Bare Minerals. I had it in my gym bag. I would take it and I would literally cake it on my cheeks to try to cover up all the redness because I was so embarrassed by that. And that was mainly because a lot of people would ask me every day after PE, like, why are your cheeks so red? Like, are you hot? Like, why are your cheeks so red? And I got so embarrassed by that. And that was just something that that was very traumatic for me. And so now that's another reason why Bare Minerals has a very special place in my heart, because it makes me think about that when I use it. And now I laugh at that. Like, I laugh at the fact that I was so embarrassed by that. There was no reason for me to be. There was no reason for me to go in there and pile on Bare Minerals because I had red cheeks. Like, there was just no reason for it, but that's what I did. And again, you know, that age, when you're that age in school, it's hard. You know, you want to feel like you fit in, and you don't want to be embarrassed, or you just want to feel like people accept you. And I did not feel that way. And I dealt with that every single day until I was confident enough to leave when I was a senior. It's so interesting too. I feel like now there's a bunch of reasons why my YouTube channel is so important to me, but one of them is definitely that I guess I'm really proud of the fact that I've come this far. And I know at that time in my life, I would have never in 1,000 years, even if somebody paid me to be like, okay, you're gonna go and make a video of you putting your makeup on and post it on YouTube for everybody and anybody in the entire universe to see, and you're gonna start out with no makeup on your face. I can promise you I would have said, you have lost your mind, because I will not be doing that. And now here I am at 29. I don't know how I do this, but YouTube is literally really the only thing I have ever done in my whole life that feels like 100% natural. It is not forced. It's not something that makes me uncomfortable. It just feels like what I'm supposed to be doing. And I guess I'm just really proud of that. I'm proud of the fact that I've come this far, and that's why I want to share these things, because I feel like it's important. It's important to share that there's nothing wrong with you. If you're not like everybody else and you feel like you're constantly trying to fit in, or anyone in your life makes you feel like there's something wrong with how you are, there's not. And I know it's easier said than done for someone to just tell you, you know, there's nothing wrong with you. You have to kind of come to that realization yourself. But I just wanted to share these things about me so you guys kind of understand me a little bit better. I'm gonna do my eyebrows, and I'm gonna tell you another story. So, like I said, I went to this school from 7th grade to 11th grade, and honestly, each year it progressively got worse. I know you hear about like high school horror stories, and you know, that's a hard time for a lot of people. And it was for me. It was absolutely for me. I don't even know how to really explain that time in my life, because a lot of it I've honestly kind of blocked out, because obviously they're just not super happy memories. But each year it kind of progressively got worse and worse, you know. Girls can be mean. I mean, guys can be mean too, but this particular school was very cliquey, and if you were not in a clique, you like did not have anywhere to go. I'm not kidding when I tell you that. When I was a junior, so this was my last year at this school, so I was not doing well by this point. My junior year of high school, I am not kidding you. I'm not exaggerating. This is 100% a fact. I brought my lunch to school every single day. I did not get lunch at school because I did not want to go in the cafeteria. I would bring my lunch and I went and sat in my car every day at lunch for the 30, 45 minutes, however long it was. I can't remember. But I went and sat in my car. I ate lunch in my car every single day my junior year of high school because I didn't have any friends, and I knew if I went in the cafeteria there was literally nobody for me to sit with. And instead of just going in there and feeling like an idiot because I didn't have anyone to sit with, I literally went and sat in my car. I drove a red Volkswagen Beetle, and I drove that for years. I loved that car. I loved to go sit in that car actually, because that car was like, I don't know, that car was my only friend at the time. And that sounds so sad, but I'm not kidding. And I went and I sat in my car, and I can't believe I'm sharing these things now and laughing about it, because at the time it was not funny. It was not funny. In case you were wondering if I was super popular, had a lot of friends, had a great high school experience, now you know. I did not. I was not. And I would not go back to that time in my life if you paid me. I'm sorry if this video is totally all over the place. I knew it was probably going to be, but I just wanted to talk to you guys and just share these things, honestly, because I know it's going to feel really good when I do share these things, because honestly, a lot of the time, or a lot of my life, I really wouldn't talk about these things, really until probably the last 3 or 4 years. You know, it's not the most fun thing to talk about. You know, sometimes, like I said earlier, you look at other people on social media, you know, Facebook, Instagram, wherever, and you look at these people and you think, wow, that person's life is just perfect. They have never had a care in the world. They've never felt insecure, or like they didn't belong somewhere, or like there was something wrong with them, and that's just not the case. It's probably that they're just not going to share that with you. But I'm here to share these things because, number one, I want you to know me, but number two, I don't want anyone to watch my videos and think, oh, her life is perfect. Oh, she's so confident, you know, all of these things, which people may or may not be thinking that. I don't know. But I don't want to give off that perception because that is just not the case. It's never been the case. It's just that now I'm very confident in who I am, and I can look back on these times in my life and clearly see how wrong I was in thinking the way I was thinking. But, you know, that's part of life. One thing I will say about that time in my life is, one thing I am grateful for that I guess you could say kind of came from that time in my life is a lot of the times people on YouTube, I see a lot, people ask YouTubers, like, how do you not worry about hateful comments, or how do you not let them affect you, and, you know, things like that. Because that's a real problem on YouTube. You know, there's always going to be people that leave hateful comments. That's just the way it is. It's a sad truth, but that's just kind of part of it. When you choose to put videos up on the internet, that's just gonna kind of comes with the territory. But for me, I feel like my life up until this point has kind of prepared me for that, where I literally don't care if I get a hateful comment. I mean, it's just nothing I haven't experienced before. It's fine. And, you know, if I'd had a different experience when I was younger, I might not be able to say that, but it's definitely not the first time I've experienced hateful comments, which is also a sad thing to say out loud, but it's true. I'll give you another example of something that I did not do that was very like mind-blowing to a lot of people. When I was a junior, so my last year at this school before I changed to the different high school, you know, when you're a junior and a senior, prom is a big deal. Honestly, this particular school, which it may be this way in all schools, I don't know, but I think this was kind of an extreme case because, again, there were not many people in each class because this school was so small. There was a particular group of people that I guess you would consider like the popular group. I know there's a popular group in, you know, like every school pretty much, but this popular group consisted of like 90% of my class because it was so small. So for junior year prom, basically they all chose who they were going to go to prom with. They would ask that person, you know, blah, blah, blah. Then they would then take it upon themselves to basically pair up the remaining people in the class with who was left over. And I will never forget, I was in, I think it was a history class at the time, and it was like before class when a lot of people were in the room, but class had not started yet. And there was, again, the popular group talking to each other, and they're talking about who's going to prom with who. And I'm like sitting over here in the corner. I don't know what I was doing, just sitting there doing nothing probably. And one of the girls in this group just says out loud in front of the whole class, well, Blair's going to prom with X person. I'm saying X because I'm not going to say any names. But first of all, I had never even talked to this person that she was saying I was going to prom with. And I was just sitting there thinking like, okay, since when do you get to tell me who I'm going to prom with? How do you know who I'm going to prom with before I know? It was just, And I will never forget this. I looked over there at her and I said, no, actually I'm not. I'm not going to prom. And she looked at me like I had 15 heads, and I'm not kidding. And the room got quiet. It was like, you just didn't not go to prom. You went to prom. And I was like, actually, no, I'm not going. And, I said, no, I'm not going to prom with him, and I'm not going at all. And I'm telling you what, that was the shock of the day, I can tell you. Because they thought, well, we pair the remaining people up with who they're going to go to prom with. And I was like, well, you're not pairing me up. And that was that. I did not go to prom. Oh, and that did not happen. You guys, I did not go to prom. I didn't go my junior year, and I did not go my senior year when I changed schools. Now, I will say I probably could have gone to the senior year prom because I met a lot of people in that one year that I actually really liked. But at the time I had gotten a job and I worked a ton. So I did not go to prom either year. And oh my Lord, that was like unheard of. Like everybody went to prom. But you know, I guess where I'm going with this is if you don't go to prom, the world will not end. It will be okay. You will be okay. There's so much like hype and pressure around certain things at certain points in your life. And you know, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with those things. If you want to do those things, then do it. More power to you. But if you don't, there's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with you. You guys, I just thought of another story I have to tell you that kind of goes along with the whole sports thing. So like I was saying earlier, sports were a big thing at this school. People, you know, everyone just played a sport. And I don't know, I know not everyone plays sports, but I'm telling you at this school, it was like everybody did. Everyone did. So if you didn't, you were not cool. You were definitely not cool. And there was something else that was kind of something that happened a lot at this particular school. Each year we went on like I forget, it was a field trip, but it was like more than just a day trip. It was like an overnight trip. And each grade had different trips that they went on. And they were not optional. Like you were supposed to do these things. So as time went on, I got to the point where I didn't do all of them. But in the beginning, I want to say this was 8th grade. I think this was 8th grade. I could be wrong. But like I said, I did not play any sports. That wasn't my thing. And I remember I was in class one day and it was like a week before we were supposed to go on our group grade trip, whatever you want to call it. And I don't remember exactly where we went, but it was an outdoorsy, like sleep in a cabin and you're going to kayak and canoe and all of these like outdoorsy things, which is like a nightmare for somebody like me. But I was gonna go. But anyway, so I'm in class this day. This is a week before. And of course, a group of people are like sitting around talking about this trip the next week. And I'm not in the conversation. I'm just like over here. And one of the girls, she was like kind of like the queen bee girl. They're talking and she turns to me and she says, "Blair, are you going to be okay being outdoors?" And okay, the reason she was saying that is because she knew I didn't play sports. I didn't do any of that like stuff that everyone else did. That was her point in saying that. And at the time, I should have looked at her and said, yeah, I think I'll be okay. Or, so what if I'm not okay? Like, what's it to you? I should have said something to her. I didn't say anything. I just sat there. And once again felt like there was something wrong with me. But I can remember that so clearly. Her saying, "Blair, are you going to be okay with being outdoors?" And something else, you guys, during this time in my life, like I mentioned the Bare Minerals earlier, that was really the only makeup I wore. I didn't wear a ton. I mean, I want to say, I wish I could remember back. I mean, I wore a little bit of makeup, but it was not much. So I really wasn't into makeup at the time. That wasn't really an interest I had either. That didn't come until like college really for me. But honestly, I wish at that point in my life I had YouTube, because the great thing to me about YouTube is there's so many people on YouTube, so many different personalities and niches. I mean, you can learn anything you want to learn on YouTube. You can find anyone talking about anything. And I love that because I feel like exactly what I'm what I've been saying this whole time is it makes you, or it kind of gives you like a sense of belonging to something almost, because you can always find somebody that has the same interests as you, or that, you know, talks about things that resonate with you for whatever reason. And I think that's just such a nice thing to have. And yes, it comes with other things that aren't necessarily positive. You know, there are going to be mean people, and there's going to be, you know, hateful comments that people leave. And other than that, there's a lot of good, I think, that can come from YouTube. And that kind of brings me to one of the main points I wanted to get across in this video, which is that if you are here and you watch my videos, just know how much it is appreciated. If you comment on my videos, if you watch and don't comment, if you know, even someone that watches 10 seconds of one of my videos, I appreciate you, and it means so much to me. When I tell you that this YouTube channel means a lot to me, I'm not kidding. I'm not just saying that, it really does. This channel represents more than just makeup, even though that's what I talk about and that's what I love. It is kind of, I don't know, it's a representation of how far I've come as a person. Because like I said earlier, I can promise you when I was in that position, I'm 29, so, you know, 15 years ago, however long ago it was, I would have never even considered filming myself and putting it on the internet. Like, that just would not happen. I know, 100%. And I don't know. I'm just really proud of how far I've come. And if you support this channel in any way, I appreciate you so much. It does not go unnoticed when you comment and subscribe, like, share one of my videos, follow me on Instagram, send me a message, a DM, whatever it is. It means so, so much to me. I'll share something else, another example of me doing something because I felt like it was what I was supposed to do. You know, we do things in life a lot of times not because we want to, or, you know, it's something that means something to us or anything like that. A lot of the things that we do in life, we do because we think that's what we're supposed to do. And, you know, again, that's not being yourself. That's not simply being you, which is what I feel like I'm pretty good at doing now, but I have not always been that way. So I'll give you another example. When I graduated high school, I went to college. I went to a larger school. I did not graduate from this school. I ended up transferring, but I went to a larger school, University of South Carolina, if you were curious. And if you're from the South, you may or may not know, being in a sorority is a very popular thing. I know it's popular everywhere, but particularly in the South, that's kind of like one of the things a lot of people do. And again, nothing wrong with people that are in a sorority and love it. That's great. If that's your thing, then there's nothing wrong with that. But when I went to this school, again, I knew so many people that were doing rushing, whatever you call it, where you know, you go every day of the week and you go visit the houses and you meet people and you wear certain things and all that. Well, I go to school there and I decide, okay, I'm gonna rush. And I still to this day do not know why I did that, because that is so not me. I am not like a let's all be in a group and be just like each other person. It was kind of just another extension of my school experience that I've been talking about. Of course, I decide to rush. And let me tell you, first of all, another very miserable experience. I don't even know what to say about it other than it was not a fun experience. I mean, from standing outside in the hot sun, waiting to get into these houses, to basically trying to convince somebody that you're worthy of like being in a certain sorority. Yeah, it was not my thing, but of course I did it because I thought, you know, that's what you do when you go to college. And I did it for a few days. You know, it goes in like rounds where you go to certain houses one day and then they have to like choose you to continue with that house. I don't even remember. It's a bunch of rules, but I did it for a few days. Finally, I got to the point where I was like, you know what? This is miserable. This is not fun. Like, why am I doing this to myself when I have no interest in being in a sorority? But here I am again trying to do what I think I'm supposed to be doing, you know? And now I look back at that and I'm just like, I cannot believe over and over I did these things and they were so not who I am. And I'm at a point in my life now, and I'm so grateful for it, that I like who I am as a person. And I know that there is nothing wrong with the fact that I didn't play sports when I was growing up, or that I'm a quiet person, that I'm not loud and extroverted and outgoing and all of those things. And I'm so glad that I didn't let those things change me as a person. At the time, I may have tried to do certain things or be certain things, but at the end of the day now, I'm so happy with who I am as a person, and who you see in my videos is who I am in person. I am not put on. I am not, I'm nothing but myself when I film these videos. This is 100% who I am, and that is a beautiful thing. And I wish and I hope that if someone stumbles on this video and maybe you haven't seen me before, you haven't seen my videos, maybe you're not even interested in makeup, but if any one person sees this video, I just want to get across that if you've ever felt like there was something wrong with you because you are not like other people, there's not. I don't care who you are. I don't care how old you are, where you live, what the situation is. I don't care. There is nothing wrong with you exactly how you are. And that was the whole point in making this video. I just wanted to say that, and I wanted you guys to know that it has not always been rainbows and sunshine. Life is not always rainbows and sunshine. Even though you may see certain things on your Instagram feed and think that it is, it's not. I don't care who you're talking about. Life is not always what it seems. If I sat here for even longer, I could honestly probably talk about this all day. I could probably make multiple videos on this, but my main reason for the video was just to share a little bit more about myself and just why I say simply be you at the end of my videos. It's not just because it's cute or something I thought of, or there's no reasoning behind it. There's a reason my channel name is Simply Blair, because that is exactly what this channel is. That's exactly who I am. I'm Simply Blair. And there was a long time in my life when I was not Simply Blair. I was simply trying to be something that I was not because I felt like there was something wrong with me, and there wasn't. And that is going to be it for this very long and kind of all over the place video. I hope it was enjoyable. If you made it to this point in the video, thank you so much for being here, and Like I said earlier, I just wanted to share a little bit more with you about myself. So when you watch me, you know a little bit more about me than just that I love makeup and I love to talk about it. And I feel like you guys are my friends, and those of you that comment all the time, even if you don't comment, I really appreciate you. I recognize all of your names, and I'm just so grateful that you are here and you take time out of your day to watch my videos. And thank you so much for watching this one. Make sure to give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Leave me a comment and let me know if anything resonated with you in this video, if you thought anything was funny. Just any thoughts that you have, let me know in the comments. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I post 3 times a week on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Mostly makeup content. This is just kind of a bonus that I was throwing in, but make sure to subscribe and follow me on Instagram at simply.blair and TikTok simply.blair01. I will see you guys in my next video. Remember, simply be you. I'll see you next time.
Sunday morning, waking up with you. We got no plans.